Okay, you always want to start out in your run position. This will make your controller run automatically. When you're showing this to the homeowner or when you're setting it up, turn your dial to your date and time. Everything works with your plus or your minus or your two arrows. So as you can see, it's flashing on 2013. We want to change that to the current year, 2016, with your plus button. Then you hit your arrow. It's going to take you to the month, and we're going to switch that to 2. And we're going to take this right arrow, and that takes you to day. And we're going to take that to the second, which is today. Okay, then you hit your right arrow again. It's going to take you to time, and you can see in the right hand corner it's flashing right now on AM, and you can adjust that by your plus or your minus button to your current situation, your current time. So right now it's PM here. It is 12 right now, and you see how I do that. You can scroll back and forth with your arrows, or your plus button or your minus button changes the hour, or if you hit over with your arrow, it's going to take you to minutes, and it flashes on what your option to change, just like an alarm clock when you're setting this thing up. That's the way I always tell all the homeowners. Okay, so you hit your right arrow, and it's going to take you back to square one, which is at the current year. Okay, so then you're done with that option. You want to slide it to the right and go to your start times. This is what time you want your system to kick on in the morning, or whatever desired time you want. Your up or down manipulates your time, and you want to be aware when you're scrolling through times of your AM or your PM. If you actually rotate all the way around, it'll switch to PM. But it works in 15-minute increments, so you can start it at normal times or anywhere from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the morning. And you want to try to set them up, before people get up and take showers, so it doesn't draw their water pressure. That's what I usually tell everybody. So we'll just say it's set up for 5 o'clock. And you see how I did that. I just scrolled down. Okay, now on this controller you have A, B, and C for a program. Well, right now we only got program A set up. Okay, but on program A you can run this thing up to 4 times a day on this program. Okay, now we don't have another time set up, but if we did, I'll show you how to do that. You go to your number 2, meaning your number 2 start time, the second time you want the system to kick on. You hit your arrow, and you can scroll around to your time, which is probably most likely if you're going to run a second time, it's going to be in the afternoon. So you want to scroll around all the way until you get into PM. Okay, let's say your first start time, we got it set up for 5 o'clock AM. Your second start time, we'll say it's kicking on at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, where this comes in handy is like a new sod situation, or if it's really hot outside and you just want to hit some flowers a second time in the day. So as you can see, it's as simple as that. And if you wanted to run it a third time, which is, for a sod situation, most sod jobs in the summertime require at least 3 waterings a day. So you'll see you can scroll around to whatever time you desire to run that. You just want to make sure that it doesn't overlap as far as your time. You want to calculate your run times on your zones, and figure out when that system or when the system is going to stop running and how the duration of time in its entirety. So you can scroll around to whatever desired time you want this thing to kick on. So as you can see, we have a morning start time at 5 o'clock a.m. Then we have an afternoon start time at 1 o'clock p.m. And then we have a third start time, we'll just say for the sake of it, 6 o'clock in the evening. Okay, so that's just program A. You can go to a second program and you can run flower beds only at whatever time you want. You just want to make sure that it's on the off time that your grass is running. So we'll just say that your grass zones are going to take a total of, we'll say, 2 hours and 45 minutes. So if it's kicking on at 5 o'clock in the morning on program A, okay, we'll say 2 hours 45 minutes, so by 7:45 that would be done. So if you go to B and you want to kick your flowers on separately, you just want to make sure that you set it up for 7:45 or anywhere after that. You just don't want to overlap. Okay? If you flip over to run times, this is your duration in minutes of your zones. So this is in minutes with your plus or your minus button. You can scroll to whatever duration of time you want on each individual zone. Spray zones typically are anywhere from the 10 to 12 minute range. Rotor zones anywhere in the springtime you want to start out maybe 15 minutes. Summertime they could go for 30 to even 45 minutes. I've seen them. Just depends on how green you want your grass. Okay, so we'll say zone 1 is a flower bed. We'll say zone 2 is a rotor zone. We'll set it up for 15 minutes. Zone 3 may be a side turf zone. That's a spray zone. So like I said, spray heads are anywhere from that 10 to 12 range. They put out a lot of water pretty quickly. Then we'll say zone 4 is getting back to the backyard. We'll say 15 minutes for that. Okay, you get the idea. Watering days, the black still raindrop means it's running on that day. Basically this positive or negative right here turns to a yes or no option. So if you scroll through, you can pick and choose your desired time or days that you want to run or you don't want to run. So just say they cut grass on Wednesdays, hit your negative button, you'll see a little circle with a cross go through it. Okay, that means it's not running on that day. The black still raindrop means it's running on that day. Easy as that. Pump, that's if you have a booster pump or a lake pump. This is basically sending out to the relay to tell it to kick it on. In most cases you're not going to have this, so this option is going to be pretty much nothing for you. But if you do run into that situation where you have a booster pump, you're going to make sure that you have these on. Sometimes you can, like on a booster pump, if you have a really small zone that doesn't require the pump to run, you can turn that off by hitting the negative button, or you can flip her on with the positive button. Okay, but if you're in that situation, that's what you want to do. Seasonal adjust. I usually tell everybody to leave this at 100%. What this does is, if you have, just say you have every zone on your system set up for 20 minutes, and you were to cut this percentage rate back to 50% with your negative button, everything's going to run for 10 minutes. So it basically is just a percentage calculated time for your system to run. You can kind of manipulate it that way, but I kind of tell everybody to leave this at 100% and just do it by your run times individually on your zones, because one area may need more attention than another, and it's a lot better to just do it individually than it is by the seasonal adjust. One area might be a lot more sunlight and need more attention when you're bringing the whole system down. So if you can do it here, that's the way to do it. Solar sync option. If you do have a solar sync, this is where this will come into play. Right now we don't have one set up. I will shoot another video for that. Let's see here, manual. So if you decide, when you're doing these walkthroughs, that you just want to run a single station, say you want to kick on zone 2 and let it run for its 15-minute duration of time, you can scroll to any zone you want to and give it a quick flip to run. Well, zone 2 is going to run for that 15 minutes, and then it's going to go back to its normal time after that. You can walk away, you can close the door, and you don't have to touch it again. Just that one zone is going to run. Okay? And you can cancel it out at any time by going to the off position. Okay? So like I said, you should always be in this run option. Now I'm going to show you something. If you want to run the whole entire system, all you have to do is hold down your right arrow for about 2 seconds and release. It's going to run however many zones you have set up on that for the duration of time you have it set for, and then it'll go back to its automatic programming. You don't have to touch it again. It'll just run the duration of time you have it set for. And like I said, just like the other option, you can flip it to off and cancel it out at any time, and then just make sure that you give it a flip back to run so it runs automatically. Okay. Most systems are wired with rain sensors. When doing a rain sensor, you want to make sure that you are in the active mode right here on this side of the controller. If you're bypassed, it's just going to not allow the rain sensor to work. So you do want to make sure that this is in the active position. That's pretty much it. I'll shoot another video here.